Felix Quibe writes to protest, a project attorney at the Wits University Center for Applied Legal Studies. He joins us now via video link to weigh in on this particular matter. Felix, thank you so much for your time. So, of course, we saw that the case was postponed to Thursday. Just your initial thoughts in as far as this matter is concerned, particularly as it speaks to the applicant's, application on based on the Chapter 2 of our Constitution.
Good afternoon and good afternoon to the listeners. So our view on this case, we are of opinion that for people to properly understand this matter, we need to also look at the socio-economic conditions of these communities. That this case is twofold. Firstly, it has to do with the socio-economic conditions of the communities, poverty, unemployment, and also the corruption and the government's failure to properly regulate the mining industry. The government has the responsibility to regulate the mining industry, the mining's operations, and that is something that is unfortunately not really happening, where these mining companies operate. They fail to comply with other duties like their social and labor plans. They fail to uplift the economic conditions of the communities to which they extract the mineral resources. They fail to employ the local communities. Even in instances where they leave those communities, they fail to comply with obligations to close those mining shafts. So due to the government's failure to properly regulate that industry, we are in the situation that we're in here now. And so what is really happening here is that what the case is all about, it's all about the enforcement of the rights found in the Bill of Rights, Chapter 2, like the right to life, human dignity, and health. It has really nothing much to do about whether the people on the ground are guilty or whether they committed any crime. What is being sought here is that the government shouldn't really close the mines, and they should provide the people with humanitarian aid to allow them to come out so that then the proper process can follow.
We heard earlier on, of course, from the police, SABC, saying that, there is a shaft not too far from the actual mine that is used by these miners or illegal miners to, enter and also exit. And that they're saying that, of course, moving from that original, direction, saying that they do not want to be seen to be aiding and abetting criminal activities or, assisting people in this, what they call, of course, an illegal activity. Just your stance on the SABC or government in this matter, but also the fact that they are still maintaining that they will make sure that once those miners resurface, they will then be arrested.
So yes, I think the main point here is that the police and the government are actually not really prohibited from actually carrying out their duties, which is arresting those who are alleged to have committed any crime. However, the most important thing here is that they should facilitate the process or make the process for people to come out, those who are able. But there's also been reports that others are unfortunately unable to come out on their own due to the prolonged period where they have gone without any humanitarian aid. And this was evidenced by the community's efforts to go into the shaft and assist to those that they can assist to come out. So there are reports that there is willingness to come out. However, unfortunately, others don't really have the ability on their own due to the prolonged period that they've gone without any humanitarian aid. So should the people who opt to come out and those that are able can come out, and those that are unfortunately unable are assisted to come out, then the police and the government then can take over the process of ensuring that everyone who's underground, who's alleged to have committed a crime, then can be held criminally liable.
So the court case has been postponed. We understand it's back in court on Thursday. What are we likely to see there? I mean, of course, the case was brought forward by the Society for the Protection of our Constitution. What are we likely to see happen on Thursday?
At this point, it is very, very difficult to predict the outcome. Because there's quite very strong opposing views. For the applicants, they're actually asking for the government to ensure that emergency personnel are allowed and able to access the mine to provide those humanitarian aid to the people underground, while also the government's view is that should an order be granted that the government has an obligation to assist those miners, then that could amount to them actually supporting or abating criminal activities. So these are two opposing views that are very strong on each side. However, at this point, it is unclear as to which view the court would lean towards. But very importantly, I think this is an issue that could be said that it has been settled in our law with the Constitutional Court in the Makwanyane versus the state, where it abolished the death penalty, in that as much as people can be accused of having committed a crime, but they still have certain rights, which is the situation here, where the applicants are arguing that as much as the people underground are alleged to have committed certain crime, but they still, to an extent, have certain rights like the right to life, human dignity, and health. But also, very importantly, I think this case brings a very important matter in that the government has actually failed to regulate this industry. And in that, this case highlights the issue or the gap that is there in the mining industry, that to which the government should actually focus on, just to ensure that that industry is properly regulated to avoid situations like this. So the unfortunate situation is that it appears that we are actually not asking the right questions. Questions that should have been posed to the government at this point is like, how many of these mining shafts that are open, and how it is that these shafts have been open for so long, and what has the government done, to properly regulate these shafts and everything. So this case highlights that issue that has been lingering, and unfortunately it is at the expense of people who are driven by hunger, by poverty, who are just trying to salvage what they can get there at the mine.